All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining our Hawaii Realtors Virtual Connect webinar, Shifting from Adversity to Opportunity. I am Ken Hiraki, Hawaii Realtors Director of Government Relations, and I will serve as a facilitator of this webinar. So let's begin. I won't sugarcoat this. According to the University of Hawaii's Economic Research Organization, Hawaii has the weakest economy in the country, and our small businesses are closing at an alarming rate. I was told when written in Chinese, the word crisis is composed of two characters. One represents danger, and the other represents opportunity. It is clear that Hawaii is facing tough economic challenges. So how do we not only meet these challenges, but actually thrive during turbulent economic times? Some may say, no can. Fortunately, today's panelists are here to share ideas and strategies to take us from the negative, no can, to the positive, how can. After all, Fortune 500 companies such as Hewlett-Packard, Uber, and Square were started during an economic recession. So, how can we retool and reimagine our business and take advantage of opportunities during these times? So let's start with our first panelist, Scott Simone, founder of the Simone Leadership Group, who will talk about leadership during times of crisis. We want our webinar to be informal and lively, so I hope you guys don't mind, but to break the ice, we thought as I introduce each speaker, I should also post their high school annual picture, just for fun. Okay, so the idea of posting annual pictures is also a great incentive for viewers to stick around to the end, because Sherry Menor-McNamara will be our last speaker, and you definitely don't want to miss her high school picture. Anyway, we will also take your questions at the end, so please type your questions in the questions tab, question and answers tab at the bottom. And just to let you know that this is being recorded. Okay. Scott Simone is a veteran executive coach, organizing strategy consultant, and founder of the Simone Leadership Group. He specializes in stakeholder-centered innovative approaches to leadership, development, and facilitation. Additionally, he brings 2 decades of professional experience as a litigation attorney, civil engineer, and corporate communicator. Scott is passionate about empowering leaders in the private, public, and nonprofit sectors to tackle their toughest challenges. And he is a graduate of Iolani School, and I was told in high school he was known to be Mr. All-American, smart, athletic, good-looking, and every mom of the girls at the school said, "Gee, that's the catch. That's who I want my daughters to marry." So, Scott, why don't you go first?
Okay, well, thanks, Ken. And I have to say that kind of throws me off my game, because I almost feel like I need to respond to that. But we'll go back to the script. For those on this webinar, thank you for joining us. Ken did give us a little heads up that there was going to be a little twist of embarrassment. So there it was. And yeah, I haven't seen that picture in quite a while. So whatever expertise, credibility I might have had going in, I know it's kind of shed with that big carnation on my chest, but it really is an honor to be with you today to share some insights. I'd like to share screen before too long, and hope I get this part right. And in planning, besides sharing my own perspectives, I know I'm going to be learning and look forward to this, from Ian, from Sherry, and from hopefully questions that you folks ask along the way, so that we can gain some perspective on what's important to you. I think we'll have questions at the end. And in planning my portion with Ken, we arrived at a topic that's really at the forefront of the executive coaching that I do. And so in working with corporate, nonprofit, and government leaders, they're really facing unprecedented challenges on the job and in their personal lives. So in order to guide their organizations and guide other people, these leaders really need to be their best selves, even in truly difficult times. And I know all of you on this webinar are leaders as well, whether you lead teams, you lead your clients, you lead your families, or other organizations that you're part of. And I hope to share some useful recommendations for how to develop your strength, purpose, and vision to build success and fulfillment now and on the road ahead. So what difficult times? To be quite honest, it was hard to pick. There's so many, but here's my chart toppers. So of course, COVID, and sorry, I'm going to advance here. So COVID, with its many dimensions that continue to unfold, starting from the distance that we've needed to keep, the uncertainties around how we're going to live, and learning about the disease. It's been both inspiring to see. I look forward to hearing more from Ian, because they've been among that forefront of the pivoting into being contributors. But in so many ways, it's impacted our lives. Social unrest. So within weeks of us confronting COVID here, we start to see public coming together, but also in a divisive way, in divisive ways around issues of inequity, inequality, injustice, and real uncertainty around the future of our country. Climate change and its effects. Even on our local shores, we're seeing drought. We feel the storms and tides and floods being bigger than ever, even fire, and all of this, with COVID permeating, and we're seeing our colleagues and friends on the mainland with some massive, unprecedented fires. Economic collapse every day. It's sad to see, and I'm sure we'll hear more from Sherry, but as small businesses struggle to survive, we're all doing our parts to try to support local business, but on individual, business, and even societal levels, it is just tough financially. And now, I bet some of you have a window open in your screen watching the latest political news and what's happening. So here we go with uncertainty leading into what is probably going to be even more intensity to follow in the days, weeks, and months ahead of us. And all of this combines to a very real set of stress and emotional fatigue that we all face. So in figuring out how to kind of help provide some perspective on these difficult times, I went to my own work and conversations that I have with leaders, where I aim to support positive and sustainable change, both in their behaviors and their mindsets on that road to becoming better leaders. The only way that works that I found is from the inside out. So understanding ourselves first, and then changing for the better, and then projecting that improvement and positivity outward. So this morning, in my short portion, we'll take a walk through building strength, inside then out, followed by purpose, inward and then outward, and then finally vision, beginning on the inside and then going outward. So first, step one, check your own wellness. Recent studies by the American Psychological Association have found that 80% of Americans report experiencing heightened stress, and 2/3 of Americans believe the intensity of that stress is on the rise. So it's normal, it's natural to be feeling it, but we really shouldn't deny or avoid the issue. So make those doctor's appointments you've been putting off. And even if you've never seen a therapist before, if you are feeling stress in ways you haven't, or even with your family or friends, if you're feeling that strain with them, around them, now might be the time to give it a try. Telehealth is making it easier than ever to get an appointment with health providers of all kinds on short notice and from the comfort of your own home. But building that strength, starting inward, is essential. We got to check ourselves, support our own emotional and physical health in order to be there for others. When we get that into check, get active, and I'm going better yet, get interactive. This particular picture appeared in the Star Advertiser a couple months ago in an article around tending to our mental health and the mental health of our kids and kupuna. That happens to be a Dr. Umaki. She's a local psychologist, getting some exercise, fresh air, and quality time with her family. You see one child there, and there's another son out of the frame. And by interactive, I'm also suggesting real deep personal connection. Take what you ordinarily do and upgrade it. So if you regularly text your friend, give them a call. If you regularly share on social media, that's great. But how about sending a personal thought or an article to a client? You can send a gift of flowers or delivered meal to somebody who just might need it. Or you can pay a loved one a visit and do it socially distant and safely, of course. but it'll make a difference for the receiver and for you too. Shifting on to purpose, and purpose from the inside. Think gratefully. The power of starting your day with thoughts of gratitude is well documented. My clients are frequently asked about what they're grateful for and what they're proud of. Sometimes that question initially can take some getting used to. They have to kind of rack their brains to see, but it's so valuable to have some gratitude pocketed throughout the day. And you can always find something to be grateful for, even in the toughest times. This gratitude question is one of my favorites over the dinner table, and it gives all of us a quick boost. We get to know what's going on with each other pretty quickly, and we're all uplifting each other. Many people journal. I'm not the greatest in the habit of journaling, but what I've found to be doable for me is a little gratitude journal. So I have it on my computer. I start the day, I'll note a couple of things that I'm grateful for. And it really might be that I'm about to have a conversation with somebody I haven't met with in a while. So that may seem simple. It's kind of like just part of my calendar, but I'm grateful for it, and that helps me move forward. So big and small, there's opportunities to uplift yourself and others. So building on that gratitude piece, taking the purpose and going outward, I arrived at this very memorable quote and image from around 12 days ago in Fresno. So if you do follow UH football, we have a brand new coach, Todd Graham, who shows up here and in Hawaii and gets the rug pulled out from under him by COVID. So before they ever have an on-the-field practice, they're shut down, we're in lockdown. It appears the season, there would be no season. And what Coach Graham said in the newspaper, once things got back on track to where they're going to have a modified season, he said, I just wanted to get here. It's like having Christmas canceled for 2 years straight, and I'm so ready for it to get here. It's unbelievable. And to have it taken away and think there was no way it's going to happen when it got postponed, I thought, no way. I didn't even think we'd play in the spring. I thought it was going to be so difficult to pull off. And so he was so grateful. He said, I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to go out. And I'm not just grateful to show up. I'm grateful for the chance to go out and compete, help these kids compete and be the best and help them compete to be champions. And so as it's noted on the quote on the screen, he took that time, the evening before, to thank those players for the opportunity to coach them. And it showed up on the field. And when you think from empathetic, the step 4 that I'm talking about here is empathize and serve. So he got very in tune with, while he was feeling good about the opportunity to be back in the field, he's thinking about his players throughout. They found ways to connect in an adapted COVID-influenced way so that they were ready to jump on the field for their first game together and just knock it out of the park. And I look forward to their next effort on Saturday when they can have their first home game. Step 5, from a vision, taking an inward standpoint, take some time to reflect on the past, both recent past and earlier than that. I'll ask clients to describe their absolute best time as a leader, when everything came together perfectly, when everyone was on the same page, when customers were just thrilled and wowed. What did that look like? What were the key ingredients? What helped that success to happen? And then looking then into the future, how can you reassemble or assemble similar building blocks of success around us? How do we kind of set the table so that we can repeat success, but even in different times? So there's some of this forward projection. It is not easy. And so sometimes we'll need some added tools. And here's one that I'm going to credit Ian and his Oceanit team and the design thinkers of Hawaii, both for the empathy and this idea of fresh exploration. So developing a vision for the future, it just doesn't come overnight. It's not a lightning strike type of event where suddenly, wow, I have the vision, I see the path. And right now, I think anybody who is certain about the path forward is probably a bit mistaken. And maybe they're a bit naive. And so we're gonna have to trust that it's a process and it takes time. So after reflecting back and forth, really important to bring some fresh perspective into the mix. I'm showing a picture of Kahuku Farms. I was very fortunate years ago to have some work with Kahuku Medical Center. And as a resident of Hawaii Kai, I did have some in-person meetings there. And I can tell you that's about as long of a commute to meet with a client as we can get on this island. But even for the 4 or 5 times I was out at the medical center, I looked forward to going to Kahuku Farms as my reward. Because the first time I stumbled upon their site, they it is as it looks. It's just very attractive. They have displays of the species of lettuce. They show different stages of it. You can kind of see the process. They have a trolley that can take folks around their premises, and they have a little shop with their products, and maybe best of all, a little cafe, healthy products, the freshest types of smoothies and salads and eateries that you can. So I will always go in there, come back with honey, with produce, and with a whole bunch of takeout containers. I would even learn after a while to bring a cooler. And all of this because while I was a happy patron of Cuckoo Farms, I was also learning along the way about how an organization can pivot. And so take a look at their website if you have a chance, because their story is told, and they made a wonderful transformation over years to position themselves for the future. And even now, farms, other agriculture companies have needed to move to subscription models, adjust their interactions with customers and shift direct to consumer. I'm enjoying seeing it happen. I'm rooting for them, as I'm sure many of you are too. But going to a place like Cuckoo Farms, they might not have realized it was there, but it can provide inspiration, and you can borrow elements of their vision to help you find your own path into the future. So to sum up, in navigating these difficult times, on the strength front, check your wellness, get interactive. In building your own purpose, think gratefully, and then empathize and serve. And vision-wise, reflect back and forward, and then treat yourself to some fresh exploration to broaden, expand, liven up your thinking. And turn the fear you might have into excitement. So these, yes, as apprehensive as we might be, turn it into, see the opportunity, look at this opportunity to reinvent yourselves, your businesses, and connect with people in different ways. And last thing that I have, in terms of taking fear, turning it into excitement, take some risks and have fun. So when you get wind that the event host likes to share high school grad pictures, join in the excitement. So thank you, Ken, and best wishes to all of you as we navigate difficult times together. So this, on behalf of my fellow panelists, okay, we got them. Now I'll pass over to Sherry, back to Ken.
Oh my God, how did you do that? Okay, touche. Well, taking your advice, let me say, Scott, that I'm very grateful to you. So thank you. Good presentation. Okay, we'll switch over. Next is Ian Kitajima, who is the Director of Corporate Development and is best known as the Technology Sherpa at Oceanit, a to-market innovation company of 160 scientists, engineers, technologists, designers, and dreamers committed to pursuing creative solutions to the world's most difficult problems, including the current development of a simple home COVID-19 detection test kit. Ian is a graduate of Castle High, and unlike Scott, his classmates tell me he was more interested in surfing rather than going to school. So he was going to talk about the company culture at Oceanit and share the secrets to their success as the most innovative company in Hawaii. So let me turn it over to you, Ian.
Thanks, Ken. Well, that's scary. Okay, anyway. And really building on, so aloha everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the invitation to be with all of you today. I kind of want to build off of what Scott just shared. I think Scott really laid a great foundation for a lot of the things that we actually do at Oceanit as well. And so I have some slides, and I'm going to share my screen. And let's see if I can. So my topic is around, create your future now. Don't just wait for it to punch you in the face. And this is, let me see here. This is one of my favorite quotes. It's from Alan Kay's, the best way to predict the future is to create it. It's hard to create the future, but I think in these new times, it's very important that we spend more time trying to create it versus wait for it to punch us in the face. The reason why we talk about this at Oceanit, my boss likes to show Mike Tyson, and this is a famous quote by Mike Tyson, everyone has a plan till they get punched in the mouth. And so I think it's very true. And so the ability and having the culture that Scott is talking about is creating that, and having that purpose and taking care of ourselves, having a vision is really key to being able to get off the mat and get back up and keep going forward. Now, the point about showing even that graphic, right, is sometimes you have to shift the playing field. So if you don't want to get in the ring with a Mike Tyson, or if you have to get into the ring, try to get Mike out of the ring and put him in a different environment, right? So shifting the playing field can be one way to help yourself as you go forward into an uncertain future. Now, a shameless plug, my boss actually just came out with a new book. It's actually 35 years of what we have done at Oceanit and how we do it. So this is his book. It just came out this year. It's called Intellectual Anarchy. You can get it on Amazon and all the different books places. So shameless plug, if you want to know what we do and how we do it, there's all the different stories in there about how we do these things at Oceanit and what we've done. Now, I'm not going to go through any of this, a lot of this stuff, but this is inside story. So these actually may not even be in his book, but this is my perspective at being at Oceanit for 20 years and how we're able to do the things we're doing. And if you wonder what Oceanit is, the best way I describe it is, think of us, to give homage to the original James Bond who just passed away, Sean Connery. If you watch James Bond has this guy named Q, and Q has that lab of engineers and scientists inventing things for James Bond. That's kind of what we do, I think, at Oceanit, or at least a cool way I like to think about it. We invent the things you're going to see in 10, 15, 20 years. And when I thought about, what could be 5 stories, 5 great insights, and 5 things you can actually try, these are some of the stories. Now, I'm not going to go, I may go through at least 1, I may go through 2, okay? But it's everything from how do you create a safe place to innovate, to looking for people you don't know you need in your business, to this idea of no, act smart, to the ideas that, new ideas always sound crazy and ridiculous in the beginning, and then imagination versus reality. So I was going to just jump to this last set of slides that's about imagination and reality, and then possibly work my way backwards if I have some time left over. So I'm going to skip through all of these other slides and go here. And so to Ken's point about the crisis and opportunities at Oceanit, this is part of our strategic plan. It's actually up on the wall. It basically says, seek out chaos, it's ripe with opportunity. And I think that's kind of a key thing for us, is when there is chaos, most people run away. For us, we actually move towards it. And why that's important for at least our business is because, see, when times are really good, nobody wants to change. And Oceanit's entire business is about change. We're constantly changing. Like, we're constantly getting punched in the face, like feels like every month. But that's kind of our business. And so, but when things are really good, nobody wants to change. So in a way, chaos creates the conditions for change to occur. And if you look historically back, during the worst times the newest innovations, the newest companies, the newest things actually come out of those very trying times. So don't be afraid of chaos. And again, look for those opportunities. And so one of the things I was going to just talk about was this idea of imagination versus reality, and tell you the story really quickly about Assure 19. So this is a 10-minute rapid saliva test kit that does not require any special equipment. And it's designed to be 10 minutes and be very inexpensive, ultimately less than $10. And it is a revolutionary new approach to doing these tests. But this is one example where this was not on our radar when we weren't thinking about this when this thing happened. And I think the hard part with doing anything new is it really starts kind of, again, what Scott's talking about too, was about this vision and purpose, and why do we exist at Oceanit? And our part is always around how do we go and tackle the world's toughest problems, right? So that's kind of our purpose, and vision is like, okay, how do we go about doing this? And so now the hard part is the reality part. is we don't have any resources to do this. Everybody is too busy, right? Everyone's working on all kinds of projects, all these things. And so, so part of this is a multitude of things. This is also one of leadership, right? Is really my boss coming forward and saying, you know, I know everyone is really busy and we don't have resources to do this, but we need to somehow do this, even though we don't know how we're going to do it and we don't know where the resources are going to come from. And it takes a person, a leader, and it doesn't have to be the CEO, it could be you, but it's somebody who's willing to suspend reality. And this is the important point. I think when you try and go forward and create something that never existed, you have to suspend reality, because if you really realistically looked at all the challenges that's going to be involved to create that new thing you're trying to do, the new business you're trying to do, the new reality, if you cannot suspend reality, you're too smart. You'll talk yourself out of it. Not to say you wouldn't analyze and look at everything, but at some level, you have to be able to suspend reality, because the fear of all of the uncertainties will overcome you and you'll never do anything. And so my boss had to suspend reality for all of us and basically say, you know what, we can do this. And somebody has to believe, you know, I always talk about it. There has to be the first believer, like who believes, you know, that this can really happen, right? And that person is the one that sets the tone, sets the culture, sets the momentum. And no doubt, it's kind of like, I tell people, it's almost like we had a garage band, but he had to like grab people and pull people in and say, you know what, let's form this band. Now, as this band started forming, and eventually there was almost 30 people from the organization. So like 20% of our workforce started working on an unfunded project. So imagine taking 20% of your workforce and doing something that's just like crazy, right? And so eventually we started working on this thing, and very importantly too, as the leader, he was the one that actually pulled the band together. But ultimately, he had to step back, and because now it was becoming an orchestration, right? So now we had to bring the conductors in, we had to bring in other people, but he always kept the context of the vision and the purpose of what we're trying to do, and kept believing to the point when we started believing that, you know what, we actually can do this. Because I think, again, it comes back to somebody has to believe in the team or the vision or the direction. And so in that process, we started believing. So he gave us the belief and the vision. And then from there, we kind of went forward. And now we're in the process of doing our clinical trials. We will be submitting for our FDA approvals this month, and hopefully we will get the FDA approvals for this test by the end of this year. Now, this thing is so impossible. It's literally like climbing Mount Everest. So I you know, initially when we started this, I was like, man, this is like climbing Mount Everest for the first time. And I'm not a super technical guy, but I'm listening to the team and I'm hearing the fear. It's like, I don't know if we're gonna make it. First of all, if we're gonna get up the mountain, I don't know if we could literally get down the mountain, right? And they've done an incredible thing. And literally, I would say it's 2 years of work that they've done since April of this year till now. It's literally 2 years of work during that time frame. And so the point is this, right? is you, at some level, you have to be able to suspend reality, not ignore reality, but be able to suspend it for a moment so that you can think about that purpose, your vision, and that you can kind of dream about what would happen if you are able to do this. And I believe it starts with imagination, because if you start with reality, in many ways, you'll never start. This is my contact information, if you ever need it. And I'll go back to that first slide here, but anyway, so Ken, I don't have any more time, but if Ken, is there anything here you wanted to that jumped out at you? I could talk really like 2 minutes on it if you wanted, but hopefully that gives you.
Okay, we'll just move on for now, and then
Yep.
we can come back to it maybe at the end when we have more time. Okay, so our third speaker is Sherry Menor-McNamara. and she was appointed President and Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber of Commerce of Hawaii in 2013, becoming the youngest and first female president and CEO of the Chamber in the organization's 170-year history, as well as the first Asian to serve as CEO of a state chamber. Under her leadership, the Chamber was recognized as the 2018 State Chamber of the Year. And so she graduated from Waikea High, and I'm not going to say the year, but I think it was when that big hair was in style. That was the hairstyle. But according to her classmates, she was that, that counterpart to Scott. She was the all-American girl, smart, popular, and leader. So according to her classmates, no surprise that she has accomplished so much and is leading such an important organization like the Chamber of Commerce. All right, Sherry, turn it over to you.
Oh boy, that photo. Yes, you are correct. Those were the puffy haired days with perms were just the thing, the rage. But you didn't reveal my year, so thank you. But I am still younger than you, so that's all that matters. Thank you so much for having me present to the Realtors Association, Hawaii Realtors, as well as being with Ian and Scott. I mean, it's tough acts to follow. It's pretty amazing what Oceanit is doing, and definitely can be a game changer. You just, like you said, it's all about imagination, but believing in your imagination and turning it into reality. So thank you for sharing that, and look forward to how your product is gonna just change lives of so many in so many different ways. So mahalo. So I'm gonna do a presentation as well. Let's see. So I'm coming in from more of an advocacy perspective, just because, as you may be aware, the Chamber of Commerce Hawaii is a business advocacy organization. Our mission is to advocate for business. We are a statewide organization representing members across the islands and from different industries and different size businesses. So although the title is moving forward with hope and optimism, I think I do have to still present what the state of business is. And I'm sure many of you have already heard and have seen, have witnessed, have friends, families who are all connected to local businesses and have seen the devastating impact COVID has had. And going back to what Ian's quote, that he shared the quote, the Mike Tyson quote, yeah, no one had a playbook for this. And if they did have a plan, definitely got punched in the ways more than one. So our job as the chamber is to continue to advocate, especially through these challenging times. So we partner with UHERO on a number of surveys, as well as did our own surveys with other organizations. And quite frankly, the percentages are dismal. In August, 75% of businesses indicated that they had to, for some kind of reductions, whether it's number of positions, benefits, etc. 40% cannot reopen until tourism restarts. And so that happened recently. 40% cannot pay rent and can only pay partial rent. 17% say they cannot survive COVID. 40% experience less than half or no revenue. And 65% of restaurants cannot survive in the next 6 months without additional support. So you can see these percentages are very dismal. And as a chamber, we really had to find, go into rapid response mode, find ways to help these businesses, whether it's enlisting government support or through collaborative efforts. So it was essentially like everybody else navigating the unknown because no one had a COVID playbook. So for the chamber, we immediately, similar to Hawaii Association Realtors, you're a membership organization, and so are we. And that's our main revenue streams, membership and events. And obviously those two revenue streams have been impacted. But with our team, we felt that, okay, put that aside. What we need to do now is just focus on serving our members and the broader business community to get the support that they needed. So we went into rapid response mode. We put up a COVID website immediately, pretty much within a week. And usually a website takes a lot longer to put up with all the different resources and details involved. We, like everyone else, had to work from home. So we had to adjust, pivot to working from home and finding ways to connect with each other in that way. And we set up a small business hotline because we were getting phone calls every day from small businesses asking, they don't know what to do, where can I find this resource, et cetera. So we felt we needed a dedicated line just to help small businesses. So we set up a phone number for small business to call. So it's a one-stop center, so to speak. And then we went through a different phase, advocacy. From March, we've been raising and elevating our voice to our government leaders, as well as the broader public, as to what needs to be done to support businesses. So we held rallies, and then we held virtual rallies as well that garnered more than 150 attendees statewide. We sent letters, petitions, and really emphasizing the need for government to support businesses, especially with CARES monies. So that did not slow down, and we continued to elevate our voice in that arena. Then came the next stage where, okay, we can't just advocate, but we also need to offer solutions too. So we connected with government and offered solutions and ideas as to what they can do temporarily to help our small business community. And it is through the collaborations and partnerships that have gave birth to a couple of programs that are in existence right now. So part of it, I'm sure many of you have heard, is the Hawaii Restaurant Card Program. A few board members of ours, and we're discussing what can we do to infuse fast cash into the economy and support an industry that's just been so impacted by the restrictions and COVID. So we came up with this Hawaii Restaurant Card Program with DBED, as well as our legislative leaders, and using the CARES monies towards this program. And it's been exciting because, one, again, it's a collaborative effort. Two, it not only helps restaurants, but it helps every business along the supply chain. So from farmers, ranchers, fishermen, to graphic designers, to repair shops. And Yuriro did analysis, and essentially the $75 million that the government invested in this initiative is actually a 2-to-1. So it's generating more than $150 million for our state. So it's exciting. And, businesses now are calling, oh, I want to be a part of it. How can I help? I want to buy this card for our employees, to help the restaurant card program. And the restaurants are coming up with their own promotions to generate activity. So it's definitely been an exciting initiative so far that ends in December. And the Hawaii Biz Pivot program is another program. We want businesses not to only pivot temporarily, but start pivoting in this current environment as well as the path forward. So this is another program that allows businesses to get reimbursed for expenses they had to make in order to pivot, whether it's finding consultants, redoing their business environment, et cetera. So that one there, if you're interested in applying, you have less than 100 employees, commercial, office space, you may be qualified to get reimbursed up to $10,000. And you can go to hawaiibizpivot.org. The Small Business Relief and Recovery Fund with the City and County of Honolulu is another program that we supported and partnered with. And there's other partnerships here on the right side that are more private to private. So hawaiiverse.com, this is a website, and if you haven't been to it, it's a one-stop center where it features local businesses, with many of them that don't have an e-commerce site. This site allows them to post any type of promotions or information about their business so that they can get the word out because they don't have an e-commerce site. And this was actually done on a voluntary basis by a small company here that wanted to support businesses and a company that came from the Hawaii island, specifically Hilo. So it's up and running. And if you want to support small businesses, that's a website you can go to. We strengthen our alliance of business organizations. So through our petitions, letters, etc., we made sure it wasn't just a chamber's voice. It had to be a strong voice, a unified voice. So we partnered, we coordinated with a number of other business organizations to be a part of this effort. The Makauka Alliance, which I will show a video at the end, you might have seen it, you might have seen commercials running, but it's a partnership right now with the main partners, Hawaii Ag Foundation and Hawaii Lodging Tourism Association, as well as a number of other businesses that have supported this campaign. And essentially, it's a way to show that we are ready. We are ready to open, we are ready to get back on track, and we are ready to create a future that is more vibrant for Hawaii and do it in a health and safe way. And so this alliance is continuing to build. And we feel that it's a step that we need to take rather than these random shutdowns and continuing to have this roller coaster ride for many businesses that cannot continue to operate this way, much less go through another shutdown. Another exciting initiative is the Hawaii is Hiring, and that's a public-private partnership as well. And it's a website that features a one-stop center where if you're looking for a new opportunity, a new job, or was dislocated and need to retrain your skills for other opportunities in different industries and find other resources, it's a one-stop center where you can see what jobs are available, what are the trending industries that are doing okay and actually maybe thriving during COVID. Is a way to go to this website and really navigate in an easy and convenient way. So if you know of someone that's looking for a job, wants to switch careers, encourage you to visit this website. And then finally, the road ahead, the talent roadmap. I think there's been a lot of discussion. Is tourism, should we continue to depend on tourism? And is there over tourism? And that's a discussion that was going on even pre-COVID. So there's been a more collected effort now to establish this talent roadmap so that we can prepare the future workforce and prepare them with the skill sets for future jobs in different industries. So this has definitely been an exciting initiative, partnership with both public and private sector, and including foundations such as the Castle Foundation. And for us, we believe it will take the 4 Ps for economic recovery, and that is 1, personal responsibility. I'm sure we've heard it in nauseam over and over. 3 Ws, wear your mask, wash your hands, watch your distance, and such simple tasks, but yet powerful tasks, because what that does is help protect the case count and keeping it low. And by keeping it low, we protect our small and local businesses to keep their doors open. So that's something we hope that many will take it to heart, that it is incumbent on all of us as individuals to take personal responsibility. Plans. I'm sure many of you have been in March when COVID hit, and as the months later, what is the plan? What is the reopening plan, etc.? So we believe while the reopening plan for Oahu is not the most ideal, we have to continue to improve the plan. But when there's a plan, at least businesses can prepare and have more certainty for their business. And it's going to take policies, legislative sessions right around the corner. This is an opportunity to introduce policies that can reshape our business climate and reshape Hawaii in a positive, healthy, more thriving way for Hawaii. And then again, as I emphasized in the previous slide, partnerships. It's going to take a lot more public, private to private partnerships to help Hawaii get back on track. So, while there will continue to be challenges, we believe it's a time for hope and optimism. And now it's a time to seize this moment in a way to create the path forward for Hawaii. So, again, it's going to take many hands working together, and it's going to take imagination, like Ian said, and ideas And then attitude and positive attitudes, like Scott highlighted, to take care of ourselves as well as to take care of others, to take care of businesses, our employees, and our state. So we're looking forward to the path forward and working with many, many other hands to create a better Hawaii. So I'm going to end with a video, which again, you might have seen, but it just goes to show and reemphasizes the need to work together and that we are ready to get back on track. So this is the Makau campaign. And this is a video that's been playing on different TV stations.
Makau, hi!
For Hawaii, it's a new beginning. We're planting the seeds for Hawaii's future. We're ready to get people back to work, ready to get our economy going again. We're preparing to keep people safe with new protocols, new standards, new safeguards to keep everyone healthy. It's our chance to start over, to make an even better Hawaii, more resilient, more sustainable. We all have to do our part, and we'll make this happen, working together.
We're ready.
We're ready.
We're ready. We're ready to work.
Ready to serve.
Ready to guide you. Hikeu waka hau'oli e mālama ho.
Ready.
Ready. Ready.
All ready.
We are ready.
Makoko Hawaii, we are ready. Learn more at makoko.com.
So that's it. But thank you, Ken, and to Hawaii Association Realtors for allowing me to participate.
All right, thank you. Just a reminder, if anyone has questions, please type it in the Q&A box at the bottom. We did get some questions earlier, but actually this is directed to Sherry. So for someone thinking about starting a business today, what is one piece of practical advice that you would give this person?
That would be just not afraid to ask for help. I think many of us feel sometimes, I don't want to ask for help. I don't want to trouble anyone, but everyone wants to help, and especially right now. And use the resources, whether it's the chamber or restaurant association or retail association, small business development center. There's so many resources out there that want to help. And so I think that's the main thing, is just not being afraid to help, even through friends and families, because when you're successful, everyone's successful.
Oh, good advice. So there's another question that we had, and it's actually to all of you. So with the legislature convening in January, what specific measures would you encourage the legislature to pass to help our ailing state economy? Scott, Ian, Sherry, to all of you.
I think, if I may, again, using the word opportunity, it is an opportunity to introduce and pass policies that, one, can change the climate here, specifically business climate. As we have heard time and time again, we are the worst place to do businesses. And do we want to continue to have that reputation? Probably not, because that won't be good for a recovery path forward. So I really think we can have constructive discussions to make systematic changes and address those changes and pass policies so that we can rebuild in a way that will be more sustainable. And housing as well, same thing. There's so many different facets of under the cost of doing business and the cost of living umbrella that, I think we need to have a more focused effort in creating more systematic change.
Scott?
Just real briefly, I really was going to defer that one to Sherry. I'm glad she grabbed it. But I'm a real big believer in investing in people. And so I love what's happening with the Pivot Grant. And I would also love to see like that next tier of really on a very individual level, helping people to reskill, retool, learn and grow. And I think lots of times in the ledge, we hear about a commitment to education, and it kind of doesn't materialize that way. But I think among the many needs we need to address with limited resources, I think at a very individual level, helping boost people up.
Okay, Ian?
Yeah, anything that actually, any policies that actually enable, I think, people to come together, like Scott is saying, or businesses to come together, but even policies that allow government agencies to come together that would reward them for working together. I don't know. If you think about at least a lot of the work that we do, it's so important that you have diversity, you have teams of people working together across different areas. So government is probably one of those places that things get siloed very easily. And if there were ways to break down those walls and enable those things to happen, and reward those agencies that took the chance to do it, and have policies that would reduce the bureaucracies to do that kind of stuff, as well as to support local businesses. I know it's hard because there's procurement issues, there's all of that kind of stuff, but it'd be interesting if there was leadership, courageous leadership that actually would try something to do things really different. And mix it up a bit and run these experiments, right? Run not big things, but try do something. So thanks, Ken.
Okay, I got one for Sherry Menor-McNamara. Will you please provide examples of some businesses or sectors that have adapted and doing better than expected in this economy? What is the secret to their success?
I think going along the trains of using quotes, I myself love quotes. That's what inspires me. What my bedroom wall right there is just full of quotes. But the two powerful words that came from Steve Jobs is think different. And I think these businesses that are able to survive and some thrive right now is because they're able to pivot overnight and think different. So for example, Gourmet Events Catering Company, as you know, events have been, that industry has been just devastatingly impacted because they can't have large events. So Gourmet Events pivoted. They do the Cow box. I don't know if you've tried that, but it's pretty awesome. So it gives you meals for a week using local products. So it supports our farmers, our ranchers. And so, yeah, they pivoted essentially overnight to come up with this idea, and it's been successful so far. Of course, more needs to be done to support the industry, and hopefully they can reopen soon as a catering business per se for events. Maui Cookie Company, she pivoted by going e-commerce, and she won a national award. I think it was Forbes or some other award. So she also has gone exclusively or almost exclusively to e-commerce because a lot of her sales pre-COVID were walk-ins and a lot from visitors. So she did that successfully. Pipeline Bakery, they had to pivot as well. So they also gone to e-commerce. So, I think these are small local businesses, and there's so many numerous other stories that have been able to pivot, but it's just going to take more than that as well. So I think, again, it's an opportunity to make some policy changes to support these small local businesses because we don't want them to go away. Once they go away, I mean, it changes the fabric of our communities, the livelihood of our people. I mean, because we already saw some closures of some iconic restaurants this week, Alan Wong's. So 25 years, and Monica Taguchi from Highway Inn. She's an awesome businesswoman, but there's only so much that can do. And she has adjusted part of her business plan as well by selling groceries online, doing different packages, etc. But again, it's limited. So for the industries that have been most impacted, restaurant, accommodations, attractions, retail, they can only do so much, and many of them have pivoted, but it's going to take more than that. With that said, there's other industries that are doing good. The healthcare, construction, as well as technology, there's opportunities there. So how can we kind of weave these opportunities in for businesses or small local businesses to pivot in a way that will be more sustainable and help them grow as we move forward?
Okay, so we're nearing the end of our hour. So final question. What is your, and this to all of you, what is your one out of the box idea or opportunity for Hawaii? Scott, you want to go first?
Ooh, tough one. Okay. One that I have in mind is, and I'm not the inventor, or I'm not the originator of it, but I tried to go track down who else has talked about it. I was unsuccessful in that. But something along the lines of building on AmeriCorps, more like maybe Aloha Corps, where young talented people who are here, but the opportunities that they prepared for may just not be ready or built yet. I'd love to turn them loose, with support, create some temporary jobs for a fix at a time, where they are going into social service agencies, contributing in government, places they might not have landed, but really applying their talents towards helping us as a community, a society, and economy to come back.
Ian?
My idea would be kind of flipping, we're such an importer of tourists and everything, to create almost like an export economy, but export of intellectual property and license, and do licensing things. Sherry just brought up, Alan Wong's, right? As I was talking to my wife yesterday about it, I thought, wow, I'm wondering, Alan has such a brand, right, internationally as well, and he has great recipes. He's great, so what if you took one of Alan Wong's, and again, he may be already doing this, right? But this is an example where I think we don't realize sometimes that we have very unique, brands, and we have unique intellectual property because it comes from Hawaii. That you then, like Alan's, one of his sauces, right? You basically work with partners in different countries and basically license those recipes, and essentially export that great sauce. So somebody who's making it and selling it in the market, and actually importing revenues and dollars into the economy. And Alan can just do that over and over and over again. And that's kind of what Oceanit is doing, is we're taking all of these different technologies, and my background has all of these different things. And basically I'm working with different clients around the world to basically license these technologies. So we're not doing the manufacturing. The other folks are doing the marketing, distribution, manufacturing, but we're giving them kind of a new mojo that they've never had. We're giving them a capability that they can add to their product line that refreshes their product. And in return, we get revenues that come back and flow back, that makes it sustainable. And so we can be still a small company, 160 people here in Hawaii, but really make an impact globally. But I feel like we're just one example, but I think there's so many other companies and organizations in Hawaii. If we thought of ourselves and sought ourselves, that we could actually do that kind of work. It takes time, but I think it's a very long-term, it's a model that starts to diversify the economy as well. We're going to always have tourism. It is a core business for us. We should look at also how do we meld tourism with technology and other areas, including agriculture and wellness. So it's really these hybrid industries that I think for the future, Hawaii has a great opportunity. Thanks again.
Sherry?
I agree with Ian and Scott. Ian, in terms of exporting, I think we can do more in that area of exporting Hawaii products and services, because we already have that brand and people love Hawaii. So is there a way to do it that makes sense, and that we can expand our revenue base here and support a variety of businesses? And as far as the Aloha Connects, in terms of allowing the young generation to experience different types of jobs, And it's exciting because, yeah, Aloha Connects is something that has transpired because of COVID, and hopefully build a generation that will invest in other careers, in other industries, and also keep them in Hawaii. And that's what's, again, going back to the talent roadmap, that's what's exciting about that, is that you are having different stakeholders talking with each other and talking with each other to find solutions, collaborative solutions, and training the future workforce on skill sets. I know we've been so focused on degrees and different kind of professional degrees, but now it's more about training them for skill sets for these new types of jobs that will form or come out of COVID through different opportunities, which will help us expand the economic base and also create more higher paying jobs for our people.
Okay, terrific. So how do we thrive during these difficult times? From Scott, hey, have a positive attitude. From Ian, let's use our imagination. Sherry, we need to work together. We're ready. So thank you so much. On behalf of the Hawaii Realtors, I want to thank our terrific panelists, Scott Simon from the Simon Leadership Group, Ian Kitajima, Director of Corporate Development at Oceanit, and Chairman Menor-McNamara, President and CEO of the Chamber of Commerce of Hawaii. I want to end this webinar with a well-known quote from the former Chicago mayor, Rahm Emanuel, who said, never let a serious crisis go to waste. It's an opportunity to do things you think you could not do before. So thank you, everyone. Mahalo.
Thank you, Ken. Thanks, everyone.
Mahalo.
Contact